Yo, what's the vibe, guys? Rasuna say back again with another video. In today's video, I didn't have to be honest, this video might be a little bit delayed than the rest in terms of the timing it's uploaded, but that's because I really didn't have anything to talk about. I was gonna come on here and just ramble, but then I thought about a topic. I'm gonna talk about introverts versus extroverts. And at the end of this video, I hope to tell you guys which one I think I am, but we'll get into it. So let's get into some definitions. Introverts. What are introverts? All right, no, let's start with extroverts. I think that's a bit easier to define first. So what are extroverts? How do you know if you're an extrovert? Well, extroverts are usually very fine in social situations. Extroverts usually like being the life of the party or the center of attention. Extroverts, when they're doing public speaking, they like to have all the attention. It gives them more confidence when everyone's paying attention to what they're saying. It makes their delivery more confident when they realize everyone is intently listening to what they have to say. So an extrovert is someone who's okay who hears, oh crap, there's a party happening, I want to go. There's an extrovert goes to Rolling Loud and they're in the middle of the mosh pit. An extrovert likes large social settings, let's put it that way. Now introverts, what are introverts like? Now I think people get it wrong a lot. I think people think introverts don't like to hang out with anyone, but I think a better definition for introverts is that they prefer small social settings. And by small I mean one, meaning just yourself, to maybe like 2 or 3 at most. You get me? So an introvert is more likely to say, oh, an introvert would prefer to go to like a birthday party versus like a Rolling Loud. A birthday party knowing there is only going to be like 5 to 10 people and they're gonna know most of these people very, very well. An introvert would much prefer and actually like such a setting. They might actually say they want to go to such a setting, and I think people get it wrong where they think introverts are people who never want to go out, always want to stay. No, that's a depressed person. If someone's like that, they might not be introverted, they might be sad and depressed. You might need to check up on that person. An introvert is not someone who never goes out or never wants to go out. It's someone who prefers small social settings. And sometimes introverts do want to be alone. Yes, sometimes, well, I think even extroverts, although far more rarely, everyone I think needs their alone time at some point. Now, when I was talking about introverts, I got into the whole talk about sadness and depression kind of. But I think extroverts, a lot of the time people don't realize that some extroverts do find it hard to be alone because they always feel like they need to be around someone for validation almost, or not necessarily even validation, but they just always need to be socially. If they're alone for too long, they feel isolated, they feel alone in the world. And I think there's a middle ground extroverts and introverts can find. I don't think it's impossible for an introvert and an extrovert to be friends. I feel like an extrovert person might, if they're not understanding enough, might cause a lot of problems to an introvert, trying to always get them to do things they're not very comfortable doing. That can cause anxiety and all kinds of different things. So it's good to, like, obviously if your friend is always staying alone and not going out and not doing anything with themselves, you know, you might want to maybe invite them out with just you. You might want to just, instead of trying to invite them to a party or invite them to like a big social gathering, try to say, yo, you want me and you to go to the movies, or you want me and you to binge watch this series I have on Netflix. It's like 8 episodes. You find like a 8-episode series and you guys can like get a night and just binge it. Simple things like that. And I think because an extrovert person prefers when they're going out to do something with more people involved, they kind of tend to leave the introvert to the side sometimes. But I'm going a bit on a tangent. What am I? What do I think I am? Well, let's dip into what I know of myself and how I've operated usually. Well, coming up through primary school, I've always been that kid with like two very, very close friends. It's for some reason it's always been 2 to 3 very close friends with me. I've never been that guy with 10 friends around them all the time with like a large group. I've always been a 2 to 3 friend. I've always been very friendly. I've always been approachable, which are attributes of an extrovert. So I've always been sociable. I've always been able to go out in large social gatherings, and it's never been too big of a deal for me, and like coming up through high school, I remember I've always been a party. Well, I've always, not necessarily, I've always wanted to go to parties, always wanted to go out and do party things, and that all sounds nice and dandy, and you'll say, yeah, so it's quite simple, I'm an extrovert. However, at some point I realized that a lot of the reason I wanted to go out was for the validation of other persons. One of the things that always got me to go out was thinking my friends are going, and to be fair, my friends have always been considered cool people, and if my friends are going and I want to fit in, I go with them, and to be honest, Jamaican parties especially, they kind of have a tendency to have a lot of dancing involved, and I'm not bad at dancing, but at the parties I would have to be tipsy if you want to get me dancing, or I'd have to be on my way to drunk if you want to get me dancing. And as I've grown older and more mature, I've realized I've actually found it I've enjoyed it far more to be in a small group space with maybe 3, 4, 5 people, even if it's 10 people, as long as it's just us in a space having fun. I've realized I've preferred those to 200-person parties with people you don't know and meeting new people. I think I've slowly matured into realizing that it may not be as simple as I'm an extrovert or an introvert. What I think is, by nature, I'm an extrovert, but I think I have introverted tendencies. So I believe the correct terminology for someone like me might be an introverted extrovert, or maybe I'm an extroverted introvert. No, I'm definitely an extrovert by nature, but introverted. So I'm an introverted extrovert. Now, that being said, it's good to know what your preference. It's good to know within yourself what you like to do, and not try to seek outward validation from other persons. It's good to know what you feel, what kind of social settings you feel comfortable with, because if you do things you're uncomfortable with, that can lead to anxiety, that can lead to all kinds of different things. So I don't like to make these videos long, but that's just a quick talk of me and introverted and extrovertedness. Leave in the comments what you think you are. If you're an introverted extrovert, an extroverted introvert, or are you just simply extroverted, or are you just simply introverted? Anyways, I'm going to enjoy myself at the park, and by enjoying myself, I'm going to walk around a little bit more, bare feet of course, in the grass, and then I'm going to buy myself some dinner. That being said, that's been Ras Lunacy signing out.